Hey guys, what's going on? I appreciate anybody that's taking the time to listen to me talk. So, I want to give a message. I want to convey a message as well in these videos. You know, I was fortunate to grow up in a time when same sex marriage was illegal. So, 2015, same sex marriage was legalized, but I didn't grow up with it being legal. It was legalized in Pennsylvania a year prior. It was legalized in 2014. And yeah, basically, we're just getting back from my other video. So I could say that I discovered my sexuality by myself. I didn't have drag queen story time. I didn't have a gay um, counselor in my ear telling me things, what I should do, etc. Because I was looking at this video. I'm doing secular content now, but I was looking at this video like a week ago. It was this boy in Atlanta. He was like 12. You can look this up. It's still on YouTube. They disabled the ratings, and I know why they did it. But he was 12 years old, and he was really feminine. He was an effeminate 12-year-old. They blurred out his face, but the thumbnail shows his hair. Like they cut all his hair off, and they beat him. The brother or like the mom beat him because he was gay. Now, I don't encourage the behavior, but there is no such thing as a 12-year-old that's gay. I'm gonna just tell you like that. 12-year-olds are not having sexual contact. Now, I advocate for separation of ages. Whatever 12-year-olds want to do, let them do it around 12-year-olds. Well, parents should stop their kids from doing anything reckless, but let's not care and let's not get involved in what 12-year-olds do. As in, I said, let's not care and get involved. Don't be in the ear of a 12-year-old that's trying to find themselves at like sexually or gender wise. Mind your business and let them develop naturally. Because I developed naturally, like with the whole sexual confusion thing. And like I said, during the end stage of everything, I came to terms that this is just a community that is centered around sex. That's pretty much what it is. It's not about loyalty. It's not about commitment. It's about lust, sex, selfishness, drugs, and borderline pedophilia at times. Because a lot of that goes on, people don't want to talk about. But when I was 20, I was I was in I'm just glad that I never I never got married, or I never took anyone's virginity in the process, and I was confused of who I was because I would feel like crap if I did something like that. Like let's say I got married or I had like a kid and I'm still dealing with the confusion of my own self, I wouldn't feel too good about myself. So I'm glad that a lot of my questions I had of myself, I got the answers to. Um, like I said, at 20, I don't want to talk about anything bad. I want to talk about some good things. This is all dealing with the first half of 2015. So some of the music that was popular, I want to just talk about the culture of that time. Some of the popular music that I listened to, I'm just trying to think. So there's a rapper named Capital Steez. About 4 months before 2015, or 5 months, I wanted to end my life. And I was on Wikipedia looking up people that ended their life. And he happened to be listed on there. And I just typed in his music because he was the most recent person that died. He died in 2012. And I listened to his rap, his music. Like, I know every song on the Americans Corruption. I believe Doo-Wah was released that year, but Doo-Wah was just a complication of all his songs on one mixtape. I know all of Capital Steez's music. The Third Kind, Americans Corruption, um, and the and what do you call he has some songs like some EPs, like he had the Stars video where he was a little heavier, and this is I listen to Capital Steez, Childish Gambino, his early 2010s music, Tyler the Creator. I listen to a mixture of rock music too. I listen to Block Party. That's a band from England. I listen to, and I'm just thinking about like 2015 music. Um, I really didn't listen to 2015 music. A lot of the music I listened to was either alternative rap. I listened to 90s rock like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Pantera. I don't listen to rock anymore, but it was usually 90s, 80s, like rock music. Like I listened to grunge. I listened to a little Nirvana. I listened to I can name a whole bunch of rock bands I listen to. If they weren't on like Beavis and Butthead, Guitar Hero, that's where I got into a lot of rock music. But like I said, Block Party was a band I like listening to. I like the album Silent Alarm. I know that by heart. Um, like I said, music was usually just rock and alternative rap. Some of the artists around 2015, I couldn't really name any because I stopped listening to rap around that year. But I know Post Malone was pretty popular, and Young Thug. Now, Young Thug had this album called Speed Racer. I did listen to that. That's probably like the last, if you guys remember, I don't know how old everybody is, but it was a site called Live Mixtapes or datpiff.com. You could download mixtapes for free. That's what I listened to. Oh yeah, by the way, I did listen to this artist from New York called Black Dave. I did listen to some of his this mixtape called Black Bart. That was another classic. It didn't really get a whole lot of attention, but that was a rap album I liked too. Some of the music, some of the entertainment now, like TV, movies. So TV was beginning to fall, and not completely, but streaming and social media was beginning to take over. TV was becoming a little obsolete. So usually what I would watch on, because my phone wasn't really my television just yet. I still watch TV. I did play video games a little bit, but not like that. But it was TV. The computer was still around. This is what I watched on the computer because TV was becoming boring. If I watched TV, it was either Sam and Cat on Nickelodeon, Drake and Josh and Zoe 101. They weren't really showing reruns anymore like that on there, so that came to an end. It was really just Sam and Cat. If Sam and Cat was on, I watched Sam and Cat. And honestly, that was pretty much it. Because all my entertainment, if I wanted to watch something like news related, it was just on my phone. Like there were YouTubers, I'm not going to say these people's name, but there were YouTubers that I would specifically just watch for the news because I told you, this is the narrative. The narrative they were trying to push that year was police were out here just killing black people, black men for no reason. and I wasn't. I was the contrarian. I was of the contrary belief that police were not just killing people for no reason. The people that died did something to deserve to, get this result. And that's really what the case was. Freddie Gray, there was like a lot of controversy around Freddie Gray's death. I'm gonna just stick to the first half of 2015. Freddie Gray, Michael Brown still mattered to people, even though that was last year. So Michael Brown, Freddie Gray. It was a guy named Walter Scott that was killed by police in South Carolina. He was shot in the back after running away. They thought that he had a warrant out for child support. He ran and the cop shot him while he was running. Somebody got it on camera and the cop got 20 years. Now, I don't think he should have ran. I don't think the cop should have shot him. Do I think he should have got 20 years? If, I'm not a police officer, but he killed that man. I don't think it was right, no. But what I'm trying to get at is that my thoughts that I have now are not really different than they were 11 years ago. But I always ask people, why do you care so much when one race that's not yours, and it goes for everybody, why do you care so much when one race does something to you that your own race can do and it's not a big deal? I really don't have an answer for that, to be honest. Why do we as people care so much when one race does a transgression amongst another? Why does it matter so much more? Like, why does Darrell Brooks matter so much? Or why does Derek Chauvin matter so much to people? Like, what is it that bothers you so much about another race mistreating your own when you could care less the treatment of a person that's not yourself? But yeah, I had a YouTube channel that I deleted when I was getting more into, intoxicating myself with certain over-the-counter drugs. I am using weed a little bit. I am smoking it through pipes. I'm not really a fan of smoking it through black blunts or papers, because I didn't want my lips to turn dark, the dark color they can become when you smoke too much. But I do have the same beliefs I have now. Yeah, so the big thing was police killing blacks. I was aware that there was going to be an election the next year, but I wasn't concerned about it too much. I didn't hear anything about Donald Trump. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't hear nothing about Donald Trump in 2015, not one thing. Now, I did vote for him the first 2 times. I didn't vote for him the last. I don't know if he's going to run again. Well, he can't run again because that violates the Constitution. But I saw a Trump 2028 flag when I was at work one time. So I don't know if he'll run again, if he'll run as vice president. But I didn't hear no talks of Trump running for president, to be honest with you. I thought that Ben Carson was going to run and win. Now, that was a choice of mine, but he wound up dropping out. And it all worked out for him because he got to serve in the HUD department, which made no sense because Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon. And I don't understand, why would you make a neurosurgeon part of the HUD department? I don't understand that at all. But, Trump was, his name, no one really mentioned him, to be honest with you. I really feel at the end of 2015, maybe that's when people started to talk more and more about him, but he was not mentioned very much in 2015. The first half of 2015, there was no talks of his name. So yeah, Obama was president around this time, and same-sex marriage was legalized. It was legalized in Pennsylvania prior that year, like a year prior, but it was legalized like nationally the next year, 2015. Um, yeah, Obama was president. Our mayor, they elected a new mayor. It was Jim Kenney. Jim Kenney was mayor, but Michael Nutter was also mayor that year too. Like I said, my taste in music was basically it had to be either like an alternative rapper, like Childish Gambino, Tyler the Creator, Hopsin, um, a lot of those rappers that are not accepted by the black community. Those are the rappers I listen to, and then I listen to some rock music too. And I didn't really keep up with rap like of that year. You know what? I know like one song. This is weird. There are two songs thanks to livemixtapes.com. It's like I don't know if it's still around, but there are about three songs that I remember from that year that I downloaded. This song by Soulja Boy called Jumpman. This song by Nipsey Hussle called Killer. I only knew that one song by him. So when he died, I'm not gonna make it like I cried and took off for work that day. But I know that one song I downloaded from him that had a nice beat to it. And Drake and Meek Mill were like feuding with each other. And I did listen to the Meek Mill diss that Drake put out. And that was pretty much it. I didn't really listen to a lot of today's music. So the first half of 2015, like I said, my likes and interests, my favorite foods were potatoes and bacon. Unfortunately, I used to eat bacon. I did drink around that time. I would drink like my dad allowed me to drink in his house. I would drink like Chorus Lights. I would drink I would get drunk at his house sometimes. And I'm gonna leave you guys with this because I gotta do my Bible study. I've said this on my channel before. So I just didn't have the money to buy cocaine anymore because when you do drugs, there's a tolerance that builds up in your body. It's not like weed where you can just do it like a few times. See, even weed doesn't really hit the same when you do it every day, but when you do cocaine the first few times, the third time, the fourth time doesn't really hit the hardest because your tolerance builds up. So I elevated to something harder. I did heroin around July. And I want to just give you the best description of what happened. I've already said this before, but I went to Kensington. This is the only time that I purchased drugs from a complete stranger off the street. I went to Kensington and I just went around and asked people that looked like they were strung out, do you know where I can get some stuff at? Because I didn't want to spend hundreds of dollars on cocaine because I wanted to do something else that can get me high. And I found some guy named Dave and his girlfriend. They both were strung out. I offered to pay for like, I had like $20 at the time. I gave them 10 of my 20 so I can get some. I made it like I used before, but I never did. And we wound up buying. So here's the thing. This is what I never understood. They saw me, how young I looked and how healthy I guess I appeared. They refused to sell to me the first time. The guy selling drugs is telling me to stop doing dope. And in my mind, I'm just like, well, why are you selling it? If you're telling me don't use, why are you selling it? So I wound up finding it was another young guy. Like they looked around, they were around like my age. He didn't care who he sold to. He said, "Yo, I got you, man. I'll hook you up." I gave him the 10, and he gave me a bag, and I let this complete stranger, the guy who I paid for, because I didn't know who to get it from, because I wasn't comfortable just asking people off the street in that section, "Hey, can you sell me this?" Because I didn't know if it could have been a setup or could have been a cop. So I didn't know how to inject drugs with needles. I didn't know none of these things. I let him do I let him. It wasn't a dirty needle, but I let him because they gave us the needle and the dope. I let him set up the needle and the drugs and inject it in my veins. And I'll be honest with you, when I used that stuff the first time, the feeling you get, if you don't believe me, everyone has a different feeling from it. But when you use heroin, it feels like you're upside down. Like someone is just you're upside down and you can't get out of that state of feeling upside down. Like it's not really a fun experience. It's it was like this, guys. I just felt like I was upside down and I couldn't stop being upside down. That's how bad it felt. I felt a little euphoria, but it wasn't really a pleasant feeling. So getting home was the worst because it took me I purchased the stuff around maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't get home until maybe 11 o'clock at night because the whole time I'm nodding in the street, like I'm doing that nod where I'm looking down on the bus. I'm barely able to sit up straight because my head and I feel like throwing up. It was horrible. My mom knew something was going on because I was in the bathroom just throwing. I was like, I feel like she could hear me throwing up, but I'm nodding on the bus. I'm looking down. I'm like, what did I do this for? And you know what? So I guess what he did, he injected like the $5, like it was. We all got 4 bags off of my $20, so we all got 4 bags. They gave me 2 bags, and they kept the other 2 for themselves to get well, whatever. So they gave me 2 bags, and the other bag I saved for later. And I just researched on the dark web, or if you want to call it dark, it was more like the online forum. I just looked up how do you inject heroin, and it taught me everything literally through online. It taught me how to inject it in your how to set up the needle. Like it was literally I thought through movies you're supposed to like cook it on a spoon, but no, I don't really want to give you advice. So basically I just needed a spoon. I needed a little bit of water because you mix it with like water and the dope, and you just use the spoon to suck up the dope in the syringe. That's what I remember. And then, like I said, the whole time when I do it again, I was just stuck to the floor. It was horrible, guys. It wasn't a good feeling. It I did it 3 times. The last time I did it, I always thought that like my mom was in the other room talking on the phone with someone. I thought to myself, if I were to die right now, this would bring like a lot of pain to my own mother. And we didn't have like the best relationship at the time, but I felt like crap if I were to die like this. So when I was so the third time I did I can't explain to this day, but I was not addicted to it at all because it didn't feel good. It felt horrible. It felt like I was upside down. It felt like I was on a roller coaster ride and I was just I threw up or something. It just wasn't a good feeling. I really don't know how people do this stuff, but I didn't get addicted. I just cold turkey that stuff because it didn't feel good, and I never touched that stuff again. So basically, all the drugs I use heroin, use cocaine, I smoke weed. I would recreationally use cough syrup. Um, I was really wild that year, guys. I got really drunk. And another thing too, I used to get really drunk in public. I'm just glad I never got arrested for it. But I would get drunk. I would go to um, like really bad areas of Philly, and I would get alcohol served to me underage because they don't care what they're selling you. They would encourage you, and I purchased alcohol, and I would get drunk where it would catch the attention of like drug dealers, and they sold me. Um, so this guy, he had like dreads and he had like a car parked outside. He sold me Adderall for like $20. He sold me like I think a pill or two, and that was another thing, a waste of time. I didn't get nothing out of that. I took the Adderall, and it didn't do nothing for me. Another time, I got really drunk in my room. I was drinking Old English. I drank like the 40. I was drinking Call 45s. I drank like two Call 45s in the Old English, and I got so drunk. You know how your mother just opens your door to see if you're awake, if you made it home. I had vomit all over my bedroom floor. So, yeah, like I said, I only did most of my drinking 19 and 20. I've never touched it after that. But I used to get drunk just to act crazy in public. Like I said, I did alcohol. Even at jobs, they would offer me beers and they knew I wasn't, they would assume I was 21 or older, and I would drink on the jobs. And I'm gonna just be honest with you. I told you how I never stole anything, but I did take a beer when I was 20 years old. To be honest with you, I worked at this bar restaurant. I went inside the vault, the freezer, and I stole a beer. It was just some generic beer that I never heard of because I wanted to just get drunk. And what I'm so glad of is this job was in a pretty upscale neighborhood, to say the least. And I had a cop stop me when I was walking in the street. And I still had the beliefs I do now at 20. I would always assume if a cop stopped me, it was always because of the bad representation of black people on television or just their bad experiences. So I never felt no kind of way about it. But he stopped me. This is before I took the alcohol, but he stopped me. And he was wondering, like, what am I doing around here? And I didn't take it that kind of way. I just told him that I missed the bus that takes me to the L, and I'm just walking there. And he wanted to give me a ride. And I remember um, looking back, I think that he was looking to see if I had anything illegal on me. But at 20, you don't really know any better. So I just say, yeah, sure, I'll take a ride. It beats walking in the dark, and I don't got to worry about the deer staring at me the whole time. But he searched my bag, and he didn't find nothing. And I even asked him, "You want to search my bag?" And he said, "Yeah." That's what I was thinking. Looking back, that's what he was looking for. Maybe he was looking for something illegal, but he stopped me because he just saw me. He just thought I was in trouble or I needed help. But at 20, I wasn't thinking of it like that. But now, but like I said, if I remember walking, I don't have a car in it right now, but if I remember walking somewhere and a cop stops me, no, I wouldn't take no ride now. Even when I was in Georgia, like when I was 28, when it happened again, I told him I'm cool. I don't need no ride. But but yeah, he stopped me, and I got and even the other cop. I don't see. I'm trying to think back. I wasn't broke. I had fare to get on the bus, so I don't know why they were pulling out their money. I don't know if I told them I was broke and I didn't have no money to get home. I was walking home or something, but they were trying to see if they had money on them. But I really think now they were looking for, like I said, maybe they were trying to help. I don't know, but looking back, he was looking for something illegal. But this is what you're supposed to confess your sins to God. I'm telling you guys, like I said, I did steal before. I'm not proud of it. But like I think back though, if somebody were to, if I was caught at work, they could have charged me with theft. I could have got locked up. That would have been on my record forever, you know. Or if a cop saw me with the alcohol, I could have. That it could have even got worse. I could have gotten stopped, and I would have had alcohol on me, and it could have got me for underage drinking, and that would have been on my record. So, you know, I'm known on my old page. People say I defend white supremacy. I defended George Floyd or Trayvon Martin's killers. But I would say the same thing about myself. If I was me, like if I got stopped by a cop and the situation escalated, I had like a panic attack going to jail and I act like George Floyd and I died, I would say the same thing. Like, why are you stealing alcohol? Why are you underage drinking? Now, that doesn't mean I should have died, but I put myself in that situation. So I always tell myself, I'm here for a reason. I have a purpose because all the knuckleheaded things I have done in life, I've never been caught for it. And I don't have a whole lot that it didn't mess my life up a whole bunch. But the people I name, they don't they can't grow from their mistakes. They're dead. Well, George Floyd should have already got his life together at that point. But Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, they don't have that. They don't have the opportunity to change like I do. But yeah, it was a lot of drinking, guys, around that age. And one more thing, and I'm gonna close this because we hitting on 40 minutes. I found a bag. Now, this is stealing to me now. If it's not yours, it's stealing. I found a bag that contained a watch. It was a Citizen's watch inside that I wanted to give it to my dad a year later. It was a smoking device. It was like a bong. It was a bong in there. It was like a little vaporizer. And I don't know the race of the person who owned the bag, but it was a bong in there and there was a smoking device. And I took the bag. I believe it was money inside too. But I remember I smoked out of the bong the minute I got home. Like I kept the bong and I smoked out of it outside. Because whenever I smoked, I would never smoke in the house. I would always smoke in outside. Now one time I did had his house stinking with weed. I cooked some brownies and I put some weed in there and I ate it in the weed, and the brownies weren't even really cooked all the way. But my mom came home from church and said, "What is that smell in here?" And she said, she got so mad. And this is when I stopped. I sort of stopped messing with weed because I always would smoke outside, but I stopped messing with it because the smell it gave off and it just attracted too much attention. But yeah, basic sum everything up. I love rock. I love rappers that weren't accepted by black people. I didn't have a favorite TV show other than Sam and Cat or something like a reality show on like the Oprah Winfrey Network or something like that. I oh yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna give y'all the other half of 2015. This is when I sort of come out to my family. We're gonna talk about that next.